Welcome to another episode of Cooking with the Doctor, and another ingredient challenge today. This time we're going to be doing, courtesy of my friend Scott, some turnips. So this real quickly, what we're going to be doing, we're doing a bit of an Indian dish where it's going to be chicken and turnips and onion and with rice and a sort of a curry sauce that I'm going to be making. So for this real quick rundown of ingredients. You're going to need chicken. You're going to need turnips, and then for spices, I have curry powder, specifically Madras. I'm going to use cayenne, coriander, some cumin, ground cinnamon, ginger, a little bit of paprika, and then to help with making it a bit more of a, and obviously, onion, as I stated. And then as far as for the sauce itself, I'm going to be using tomato sauce, tomato paste, and coconut milk. Mixing that all together. Okay, so with that, I'm going to, so with the turnips, I've already washed and peeled them, washed and diced them. So what I'm going to do with them is I'm going to go ahead, you go into the water. It's not quite yet to boiling. I don't want to wait for it to get to boiling, but I think it'll buff out. So turnips, they cook a lot like potatoes for the most part. The thing is, you need to give them a little bit more time. So one of the things you definitely do is dice them up. Okay, and you definitely peel them. You're definitely going to peel the turnips. So I'm actually going to get this not like high, but pretty high heat wise. I'm already just going to lid it. Okay, so next thing we're going to want to do then is we're going to want to go ahead and I'll actually wait about 10 minutes of this boiling, because you're probably going to want to let this boil 30 minutes or so to kind of get it ready for put it in the sauce. So yeah, I'm gonna let this get cooking for 10 minutes. Then I'll be back to start dealing with the rice and the chicken. I'll be dealing with both of those.
11 minutes later.
All right, it's been about 10 minutes of the turnips boiling. So at this point, I'm going to first get the rice ready. So I'm using jasmine rice. For this, though, basmati also works. Really, any sort of rice. I mean, I'm not a fan of the, minute rice, instant rice stuff, but I understand at times you don't have the time, or more importantly, the money to work on that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add about 1/3 of a cup, and that should be good. But then the thing with rice, with jasmine rice at least, we're talking about 1 cup of rice, you would want 1.5 cups of water. So I won't get too much into the fractions and stuff talking about this, but so we got that 1/3 cup, and at this point I'm going to turn it on high, and then I'm going to fill up this thing about halfway. You can guesstimate with rice and water as long as there's some measuring device you're using. Okay, so we got the rice started up, and yeah, you can see that this over here is on high. I'm going to turn it down just a little bit. It was at like an 8 or 9 out of 10. I'm going to move it down to about a 6 out of 10. It'll still boil. That's going to be the key, is keeping it boiling. And then the rice, just a little bit of this grapeseed oil. Obviously, as stated in previous videos where I'm using this, olive oil, avocado oil, sesame oil, for the most part will work with what I'm cooking. Do a little bit of homework though. If you're not, even if you do get olive oil, do some homework about things like what's its smoke point, can I use it for a particularly hot dish or not, because not all oils are appropriate for hotter dishes. Well, and by hotter dishes I mean hotter cooking temperatures. You know, so you got to be mindful of that. So I have that going on, and with this, so we have this on high, and we basically keep this rice on high until it starts boiling. At which point we're going to put the lid on, and then we're going to switch it over to simmer, like a 1, maybe a 2 out of 10. Just enough so that there's definitely heat. Okay, so we're starting to get some boiling. Just give it a moment here. We'll get the lid ready at least. Get lid on. Turn this all the way to right around 1 or 2 on the old knob, and then this you're gonna let cook for about 15 minutes or so. Okay, so we'll let that go. Now we're gonna get the chicken ready. This I'm gonna put on I'm gonna start off at about a 6 just so that it heats up. Once again, a little bit of oil, and we're gonna let that heat up while we go ahead and we get our chicken ready. Okay, got the chicken here, and this admittedly is semi-frozen. It's been thawing in the fridge for a handful of hours. The thing though is, this actually is way easier to cut with, or to cut. Way easier to deal in that sense. There's a little bit of that if it's at least somewhat frozen. I know, yes, okay, freezing it ruins the texture and all that stuff, but now, the thing for this is I kind of had to freeze it because I wasn't going to get to this bit of chicken in time, and that's a lot of chicken to be wasting. Oh, and you can see over here, okay? Yeah, so I can see what's on the camera. And you can see over right here where I'm pointing to all of these spices that we're going to be using. Oh, this is going to be good. This is going to be very flavorful. And in a good way, not in the Mountain Dew 50 States edition way where there's supposedly 50 different flavors, and I'm just like, yeah, there might be Mountain Dew, but I know it's not going to be good. I've had a couple friends try it. They're just like, yeah, one of them's just like, this definitely is bad. The other one's like, yeah, I was expecting disappointment, and that is exactly what I got. So with the chicken, I'm not going to do particularly small pieces, but it's still decent size. So we're talking about, like, at the widest, maybe 1.5 inches to, but this nice little dice chunks right here. Maybe get a little better cut, maybe break up some of these larger pieces up just a little bit. You always have to be a little wary of that. Okay, well, yeah, there's a few more cuts. Okay. So here we go with that, and I'm going to transfer it over here to the dish. Getting my hands washed here. And doing some dishes as well. I mean, you really couldn't see it even if I wanted you to see it. And it's dishes. How exciting is that? Spoilers, not at all. But I definitely need to make sure at this point to get the cutting board and the knife cleaned up, because I'm just about ready to go ahead and deal with onion. And this time I'm using a red onion. Though with this red, yellow, white, I understand that there is important differences between them, but I think they'll work any which way. So with that, I got a big chunk right here I'm going to use. that. Take the top layer off as always. Just always do that with any onion you're working with. Yeah, get them decently chopped up. And I'm going to go ahead and toss these right into the oil that I have the chicken in as well. Because we're going to do a little bit of sauteing with the onions. I want them to cook down a bit. That way maybe we can get a little nice caramelization going on. Alrighty here. And yeah, you want to kind of separate all the pieces of onion that you're going to have in there. Just makes it easier to deal with. Okay, I'm going to toss these scraps. Trash. Done. Put the rest of the onion away. Probably could have used more onion, but you know, I think it'll be fine because of the turnips. Maybe I want to save this onion for the rest of the onion for another dish. Because I know coming up, you know, little preview, verbal preview of what's next. My sister actually chimed in saying, "Hey James, why don't you do watermelon?" And the thing is, she thought I was going to maybe do something dessert-like. And I'm just like, admittedly, I don't mind dessert, but I'm not a dessert guy. So I'm like, you know what? No, screw that. I'm going to make a watermelon salsa. And I think that the red onion I have will work well with that. So, okay. I have this chicken going. Oh, yeah. At this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the spices. I'm going to start working in some of the spices. Because just to let you know, when you're working in, so if you put the spice in at the end of the dish, where there's minimal cooking of the spices, you're going to have your typical spice, like, I guess you'd say spiciness, but you know, the flavor is going to be at the level that you might expect. However, if you put it in earlier into the dish cooking, like you let it cook in the oil with the food, you know, for a while, it's really going to bring that flavor out. Where it's going to go a little spinal tap, crank the flavor up to 11. So let's see here. First off, cinnamon. Just a few dashes there. We don't want, it's one of those stronger flavors, so we need to be careful. Like, especially the cinnamon and the cumin. We need to be careful with how much we use. Just enough that its presence will be known. Okay, maybe just do a little bit of stirring stuff in. Oh, that's already smelling great. Okay, so then next, a little bit of coriander. In my opinion, belongs in food, not in beer, but that's my personal preference. That's my hot take. Just a little bit. It's a bit of an orangish flavor, so. Cayenne. Oh, yeah. We want to make sure that this maybe has some heat. Oh. Okay, now curry. A bunch there from that, but I knew that I was running low, so earlier today when I was at the store, I picked up some more curry powder. The same address as I've been using. Oh yeah. Yes, I understand some of these spices are redundant with the curry powder because, spoilers, okay, curry powder Has cardamom, cayenne, cinnamon, cloves, coriander, cumin, fennel, fenugreek, ginger, nutmeg, turmeric, and black pepper. And I'm using a good chunk of those also in this. So yes, I understand it's a little redundant, but maybe one of these days I'm going to make my own curry powder. That maybe will be an episode unto itself. Okay, at this point I'm going to turn this down to about a 4 or 5. Yeah, it's a little south of medium on the heat. Maybe tossed in a little bit more oil just to help it out here. So we're not quite done with the spices. Not quite done. Okay, so next, a little bit of ginger here. I mean, really, there's a lot of ginger going on in this kitchen, but you know, only a little bit of the ginger spice, just a little bit, not too much. Yeah, that's good. That's good. You know, that ginger's about ready now. Fortunately, I already have another one for future use. But next, paprika. Get a good shake in there. Like that flavor a lot. Okay, mix this in a little more. There's a quick peek at the rice. It's very quick. You want to be very careful because if you leave it on, you know, if you pull the lid off for too long, it's bad. So let me see here. I'm making a check on the turnips here. I'm not. Ooh. Now let me see if I can. Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. They're good. They're good. Oh, that's going to be great. Okay. So yeah, turnips. They've actually been in there for about 25 minutes, but they're definitely soft enough where a fork can easily go in them. And that's kind of where you want them. So with that, I'm turning it off, letting it cool down just a little bit. Well, obviously not much, but let it sit there as I get the strainer out. Okay, I'm going to remove the lid. And then carefully go ahead and strain this. All right, and the thing with turnips, okay, so they're a little harder to cook. In other words, they take a little more patience to cook than potatoes, but the great thing about them is they have way fewer carbs. They're way healthier for you. Let's see here. Oh yeah, getting the turnips up in here. Ooh. Yeah. This is good. Oh, this is looking good. Maybe it's a little preview right here. Give myself a little preview. One of these pieces, a small piece of turnip. Oh yeah. Okay, so now it's time to get the sauce in here. So here's what I'm gonna do. Okay, let's see how much the cats will freak out at this. I'm gonna be opening a couple of cans here. So we get my can opener. So yeah, so first off the tomato sauce. Yeah, this is a smaller can. This is a 8-ounce can. Should be fine. Okay. Now, I'm going to open up the coconut milk drink. Okay. Oh yeah, definitely get some of that, because you definitely want that coconut flavor, and I love it. Okay, and we're using a bit of it. We probably used about, now let me take a look in here. Yeah, probably about 3 ounces of that, but it's a bit. So let me show you here, okay? Give me a second. Alright, now if you look over here, this is a really thin sauce right now. Well, that's why I'm going to be using the tomato paste to help thicken it up. The great equalizer of tomato-based cooking. Tomato paste. Okay, so then get this open here. Okay, here we go. At this point, I'm going to turn the rice off. Yeah, the rice is definitely good. And then I'm going to do something that might be considered a little blasphemous, but I'm totally cool with it, so I'm doing it. I'm taking, first off, this here. I'm going to take this rice, and I'm just going to dump it in. Oh yeah. Obviously rice is typically the bed and the day. I say screw it. So we have this going on. Let me mix this all in. Rice, tomato paste, just everything. Ooh, yeah. This is looking fan-freaking-tastic. Okay, just give you a quick look of what we got going on there. Maybe better if I did something like this. Oh yeah. That's the good shit right there. I'm gonna let this cook for a little bit though. Just so that everything pops out. And what I'm actually gonna do also at this point is I'm gonna give it a little taste. See how I feel about the flavor. So I normally don't do this if you're cooking for other people, but I'm cooking just for myself. So I can eat right off this freaking thing, doesn't matter. Okay, so some thoughts. Maybe it's a little more curry powder. And then just a little bit more coconut milk, not too much. Then definitely some cayenne. That, stir this in. Okay. Get this on high heat for just like a moment. And it's definitely what I just did like a minute or so ago, like tasting it, before I'm getting ready to serve it. That's a must, especially for something like this. You want to make sure that it has enough spice, that it has enough flavor. You want to make sure of all of that. So okay, I'm gonna let it cool off. I'm just gonna remove it from that heat. Turn it over here. And I'm going to do some dishes while I'm letting it cool down. As always, guys, seeing my episodes, I always preach about get the dishes done while you're cooking if possible. It's obviously easier if there's more than one person in the kitchen helping out, but even now, as we're letting this cool down, let's get it done. We don't like to do dishes, so after you just had a really good meal, you want to bother with dishes? I really don't. We're getting as much of the dishes done as possible. Okay. There we go. Get the coconut milk drink put away, get that into the fridge. Otherwise, no. Okay. The moment of truth. Go ahead, get a bunch of this right in here. Okay, so then look at that. Right there. Oh, still a bit hot, still on the hot side. Temperature wise, that's fine. You can deal with that. I better spoon this one. I was tempted to use a fork, but nah. Spoon's probably going to be easier. Okay, so up here, get that fan turned off. Okay, so, Oh yeah. Yeah, that definitely works. So concept-wise, I thought that this was an interesting use of turnips. I actually, was thinking, okay, initially when I was given the turnip challenge, I was thinking maybe make it a stew of some sort, but I thought that, man, that was so predictable, so easy to, well, not so easy to do, or especially to do right, but I'm just like, maybe let's try to be a little inventive here, so, looked online, people were talking about turnips in some, Indian dishes. I'm like, okay. So, I feel concept-wise, this gets an A. Execution, I'm going to give this an A. This is spicy, but oh man, so good. I mean, there's some heat to it, but it's not like crazy heat. At least not for me. I don't know if you're somebody who's not used to spicy food. Oh yeah, this would be bad news for you, but. For the spice lovers out there, though, definitely recommend this dish. Yeah, and using the turnips as kind of a substitute, whether it's tofu or potatoes, using turnips instead, yeah. And with the boiling, yeah, these turnips are definitely soft. Oh yeah. Okay then. So that concludes that episode. So with that, I'll see you hopefully later this week when I take on watermelon. All right, see you guys later.